When you think about this past year, learn from it, take it in, whether it's good, bad, amazing, horrible, but realize that it is not what tells you what your future year is going to be. This is a definition or a decision by you. Welcome to another episode of the Physician Growth Accelerator Podcast, a show where we break down your medical practice systems into vitals, diagnose the root cause of what may be restricting your growth, and prescribe what to do about it. I'm your host, Zed Williamson, and I believe that everything you and I experience, everyone on the planet, is the perfect outcome of that person's current system. And there's power and freedom in that understanding, that we can take responsibility and understand that if we want something different, we have to take a step back, look at the system, and make the tweak that it requires. So thinking through that lens or looking through that lens, we just wrapped up 2024. How was the year for you? How did things go? Was it good? Was it mediocre? Was it bad? Was it excellent? The powerful thing about how our brain works, the neuroscience behind human behavior, is we are basically wired to survive. And we have these really powerful biases and heuristics that drive that behavior, these automatic decision-making machines. And they've done a great job because look how many of us there are on the planet. But what they can also do is they can make us focus on the wrong things. And it can hinder what we see as our potential, as what we're able to achieve over time. One thing that's interesting is the brain really loves to hold on to history and project a future with fear based on that history, which is kind of a funny thing. But basically the idea is I'm going to use these historic events and I'm going to use that to determine what I don't want in my future. And that simple act tends to reduce the ability of us to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. So when you think about this past year, learn from it, take it in, whether it's good, bad, amazing, horrible, but realize that it is not what tells you what your future year is going to be. This is a definition or a decision by you. And so I'm going to give you a couple tools to kind of work with your own brain to help guide you to a path that puts you in the driver's seat. I am a big believer in the importance of private medical practices. I am a fan of someone believing that they are always in the driver's seat, that you have a moat around your business, that you're never in a position to have to. And what I mean by that is, let's say a goal in the future is to have some kind of exit, whether that means retire, sell to another provider, sell to private equity, sell to a hospital system. I'm not going to have an opinion about what you want to do. What I'm going to have an opinion about is never be in a position to have to. I don't want you in that spot. I want you always speaking from the standpoint of you're going to decide what is best for you at that time and that you are in control. And so that's what the Physician Growth Accelerator exists for, is to keep you in that spot. So when we think about 2024, I'm just going to walk you through some mental exercises. It's a little bit of a mindset reset. What did you avoid doing in 2024 that you might consider a should have? I should have done this, but I avoided doing it. And maybe just write down a couple things that you avoided doing. The reason is that's the kind of the beauty of our brain telling us of where we probably need to lean in and understand first, why did we think we should have done it? And then why did we not do it? What were we avoiding? How was our brain trying to keep us safe? If you imagine the neuroscience, the behavior part is our brain is always trying to keep us in this safe place, survive. And in reality, if something's not life-threatening, it can only be ego-threatening. I personally don't want to be driven by my ego. And so what were the things that you avoided last year where your brain said, oh, it'd be safer for you to not do that? Another thing to reflect on is, where did you potentially overreact? What happened in 2024 where your initial response, you look back and you go, you know what, I kind of overdid that one. This is another really good tool of where your brain is calling out, here's some places for you to potentially lean into. when you think about your team in 2024, I want you to start imagining some humans in your mind. So I want you to think about somebody that if you had the ability to clone them, you absolutely would in an instant. You would absolutely love to have more of this person. I want you to hold that person in your mind, this image of this person. And if I gave you the power to do that, and you had to replace someone else in the organization to do it, who would you replace? And the value of this mental exercise is not necessarily to go try to do that. Human cloning, probably not a good idea. But realistically, it's going to help you identify what is it about the person that you'd want to clone that you really actually appreciate. And then what is it that the person that you would replace, what is it that you don't appreciate, either from their behavior or what they've achieved? And write those things down to help create the guidelines for yourself in regards to your team's behavior. And then finally, on the person that you would replace, do they know that you feel this way about their work, about their behavior, or would they be shocked to hear that you would replace them? If the answer is they would be shocked, that's another sign your brain is telling you there's opportunity for you to lean in and give clear instructions for this person, clear expectations. They will appreciate it, I promise you, because people like to know where they stand and they like to have that clarity. What I'm talking about, setting up 2025 as we continue through this year is you may have amazing dreams and aspirations for 2025. And we can be very creative as humans, thinking about what we accomplish. But I want you to kind of compare this to the idea of building a new home or even a new office. And imagine how creative you can get thinking about what that new home looks like. And I'll just use home for the example. Let's say you start thinking, and you're like, I really want this 8,000 square foot home. I'm imagining this huge kitchen, outdoor kitchen, all these entertainment spaces. It's really easy to think about all these great things that you can do with this home. And it doesn't matter how creative, fantastic, amazing that picture is if the foundation is crap. Because you can't build a 10,000 square foot home on a foundation that can only hold a shed. And many times in business, we focus on the idea of where are these things that we can get to. And we have this concept of here's this 10,000 square foot home, here's this thing. But what we forget to do is take care of the foundation that actually will support it. And this is when we do this, what happens is our brain wants to take the actions to get to that amazing outcome. It ignores the foundation. And then we see that pop up as problems, and then we try to fix the problems. And so imagine, using the random construction example I chose, imagine if someone started building this home and the framework isn't holding together, or things aren't straight. And so you continue to do all these things to try to fix those things. But the problem is the foundation was for a shed. So it doesn't matter how many layers of solutions and fixes, you're always going to be capped at a certain level because of that foundation. And those mindset questions that I started the episode with are for you to understand how to build that foundation larger, because that is the limiting factor. And at the Physician Growth Accelerator, we always look at constraint. And the reason is we believe in business, there is so much abundance. There's so much opportunity to have a very healthy business, to help as many patients as you want. And it's rarely a problem we need to fix. It's more common that it's a constraint or a pinch point that we need to create more throughput. We need to release the pressure from this constraint on the business. And if you can think that way and start to think about, how do I build the biggest foundation? And the biggest foundation is your beliefs about what is possible, what your team does, meaning how do they behave together? Are they all, rowing in the same direction? Do they understand your beliefs? Are you clear with your expectations of them? And are they on board with your big time belief about why your practice should exist? These are the foundational pieces that will allow you to, if you want to build a 50,000 square foot home, the foundation is what can get you there. So I hope these questions helped get you thinking through some things, a little bit of a reflection on 2024 as we continue into 2025. If you ever have questions about any of this stuff, always feel free to reach out and visit physiciangrowthaccelerator.com. You can check your vitals. It'll be a questionnaire almost like what you would have a patient do to identify symptoms so that you can help them. It's a very similar model. It's going to help you identify symptoms, maybe things that you don't really realize are off. You didn't know that they weren't supposed to be that way, just like patients. So visit physiciangrowthaccelerator.com, click Check My Vitals, go through that questionnaire, and with that, we'll see you next time on the Physician Growth Accelerator.